was pointing fingers at yours truly, Caitlin Clark. Now, that was the internet, and that was the naysayers. Now, no WNBA players came forward to let us know who was holding out, but I'm here to tell you, we still don't know who was holding out. Now, with that being said, we have another year in the books. Now we have to talk about the future. Now there has been analysts coming on media platforms letting us know they just don't know how much longer the WNBA will be in existence. Now I know a lot of
Significant developments are emerging regarding the financial sustainability of the WNBA and what this means for the upcoming seasons. With collective bargaining discussions underway and financial reports painting a troubling picture, questions arise about whether the league can continue operations. The collective bargaining agreement negotiations received a 6-week extension, during which time players maintained the option to initiate work stoppage action. While speculation initially circulated about certain high-profile athletes potentially delaying the process, no official confirmation emerged regarding which players might be holding out from finalizing the agreement. The extension period has now elapsed, yet the situation remains unresolved.
will be in existence. Now, I know a lot of us, including myself, I am a new WNBA fan. I didn't know shit about this league until Caitlin Clark got here. I'ma keep it real. Ain't no ducking, ain't no hiding from me. I came when greatness came. Now, I'm pretty sure there's many of you that's in the same situation as me. So I did not know this league been going through growing pains for the last 30 damn years. How the hell do you go?
Meanwhile, sports business analysts appearing across various media outlets have begun openly questioning the league's long-term viability. The WNBA has existed for nearly 3 decades, yet continues experiencing what officials describe as developmental challenges. Critics argue that any enterprise failing to achieve profitability after such an extended period raises serious concerns about its fundamental business model. Financial documents reveal troubling patterns. The league has reportedly never generated positive returns throughout its entire existence. Multiple business observers suggest that ownership groups may be utilizing the franchises primarily as tax deductions rather than legitimate profit-generating ventures.
Do you go through growing pains for 30 years? Please explain that to me. And then how the hell do you not turn a profit for 30 years? To me, this is just me, because I didn't own several businesses. And on the outside looking in with my business goggles, I think the WNBA is bankrupt. Oh, I think they hella bankrupt. I think they been bankrupt.
Annual red ink has become the norm, with franchises consistently requiring external financial support to maintain operations. Recent reports indicate the league faces approximately $40 million in losses for the current season alone. This comes despite unprecedented attendance figures and television ratings driven largely by emerging talent entering the competition. Historical data shows the NBA's ownership stake encompasses roughly 60% of the league when considering individual team investments, rising to 75% when accounting for league-wide holdings. Sources with direct access to financial statements confirm that NBA franchise owners have poured hundreds of millions into the women's league since its 1996 establishment.
WNBA is bankrupt. Oh, I think they hella bankrupt. I think they been bankrupt. I think it's so bankrupt that the owners is just using the WNBA as a tax write-off. They gotta be. It gotta be a tax write-off. It is dead cap over there, bro. It gotta be. Could you imagine being a WNBA owner and you're sitting there like, damn, year after year after year? Well, hell, it's just turning into a tax write-off at this point because they haven't turned a profit. Then greatness came, which is Caitlin Clark.
One NBA team executive stated the WNBA owes such substantial sums to its parent organization that any potential financial gains remain years away, even under optimistic projections. Financial forecasts from the previous season estimated losses around $50 million, as reported across multiple industry publications. The upcoming media rights agreement, valued at approximately $2 billion and set to commence in 2026, represents a potential turning point. Industry insiders speculate this lucrative broadcast deal may be motivating current contract holdouts, with athletes seeking larger portions of the anticipated revenue stream. However, concerns exist about whether viewership trends support such optimistic valuations.
They haven't turned a profit. Then greatness came, which is Caitlin Clark. Now, Caitlin Clark comes. Everybody forget the last 30 damn years. How is that? Now y'all want revenue sharing, profit sharing. To me, this is just me. Why don't y'all just get y'all money and play basketball? So you went from not making $1 million to potentially making $1 million max cap. They've talking about offer you $500,000 guaranteed. Guaranteed. Get your money. That's just me. You know, these people.
Audience engagement metrics have shown inconsistent patterns, with fluctuating interest levels that make long-term planning difficult. Content creators covering the league report unpredictable viewer response, making the sport challenging to promote consistently. Current financial analysis confirms the league operates at substantial annual deficits, with the NBA providing ongoing subsidies. Loss estimates range from $10 million to $50 million yearly, representing a consistent drain on resources. Despite increased attention and revenue generated by marquee players attracting new audiences, the organization remains unprofitable.
These people has been losing money for 30 damn years. I'm just saying. Now, we got to talk about this. So NBA investors is looking like they're ready to pull the plug on the WNBA. That says WNBA will lose $40 million this season, and its investors are growing impatient. They've been impatient. While the WNBA is getting sold-out crowds for the finals between the New York Liberty and Minnesota Lynx. Now, this is from a year or two ago.
The 2025 fiscal outlook projects continued losses, with the league guaranteed to require external funding for another cycle. While revenue projections have climbed significantly, potentially reaching $100 million to $200 million, operational expenses remain disproportionately high, keeping the enterprise in negative territory. Since the 1997 launch, the league has never achieved self-sustaining financial independence, remaining entirely dependent on NBA backing. Some analysts contend the league's profitability calculations may undervalue certain assets and emerging revenue channels, suggesting the financial picture might be somewhat better than presented. However, even optimistic assessments acknowledge the substantial gap between income and expenditures.
Now, this is from a year or two ago. It says the NBA owns nearly 60% of the league. When one combines the NBA owner's personal stake in WNBA teams, the WNBA itself and the amount rises to 75%. A source with direct knowledge of the numbers said this: the NBA team owners have invested hundreds of millions of dollars in the league since 1996. The WNBA.
The fundamental question confronting stakeholders involves whether the business model remains viable. Despite nearly 3 decades of operation, the league has failed to establish the financial foundation necessary for independent existence. Losses in the $40.50 million range for 2024 underscore the magnitude of the challenge. This situation creates tension around current contract negotiations, particularly regarding revenue sharing proposals. Athletes are seeking increased compensation and profit participation, despite the organization's documented history of continuous financial losses.
The WNBA owes the NBA so much, we won't see any windfall for years, an NBA team executive told the Post. Now, it says that last year's season, right, the $50 million forecast and reported by several media outlets months ago, but still a loss said. Starting in 2026, the WNBA will get that $2 billion media rights deal. See, the media rights deal for the
The disconnect between performance expectations and business realities presents a significant obstacle to reaching agreement. Critics point out that players have recently seen compensation increases from previous minimums to potential maximum contracts worth hundreds of thousands annually, with some proposals guaranteeing $500,000 salaries. Given the sustained financial losses, questions arise about the sustainability of further compensation increases without corresponding revenue growth. The reality remains that NBA ownership groups, after investing vast sums over multiple decades, are reportedly losing patience with the ongoing financial drain. Without demonstrable progress toward profitability, the willingness to continue subsidizing operations may diminish.
Obviously, Nike, that many views with the Nike Caitlin Clark thing. So right now, if you're looking at the amount of views, I'm looking at Nike right here on my phone on Instagram. Caitlin Clark ad has 30.3 million views. Like, the only comparable view, anything view-wise, in the last... I'm just trying to think what has had more. So, since Caitlin Clark's very first reveal,
the 2026 media rights windfall represents perhaps the final opportunity to demonstrate the league can become financially viable. Whether the WNBA can transform its business model, capitalize on increased attention, and finally achieve sustainable operations remains uncertain. The next contract cycle and media rights implementation will likely determine if the league survives long-term or if financial pressures finally force ownership groups to reconsider their continued investment in what has proven to be a persistently unprofitable venture.
Since Caitlin Clark's very, very first reveal, 22.4 million views. Between the Caitlin Clark logo reveal and this Caitlin Clark video, the only Instagram videos from Nike that have more views is a video about the Dodgers and Ohtani winning. And then they're like championship thing. That is it. Obviously, almost 30 million views for Caitlin Clark Nike Instagram. Most view posts on Nike's.
Examining Nike's Instagram account reveals the Clark campaign garnered approximately 30.3 million impressions, positioning it among the brand's highest performing content pieces. This level of engagement stands out significantly when compared to other recent marketing initiatives from the company. Only select posts have surpassed this viewership threshold, including content celebrating the Dodgers' championship victory with Shohei Ohtani, and notably, coverage of Brazil's women's national soccer team achievement, which accumulated roughly 100 million impressions. The advertisement's performance exceeds numerous other major sports moments, including UConn's championship coverage and various other athletic milestones. What makes these figures particularly striking is the compressed time frame. These engagement numbers accumulated within merely 48 hours of publication.
For Caitlin Clark Nike Instagram, most view posts on Nike's page since the Olympics. No, it's not. It is in fact not the most viewed. There is a more viewed post. There is a when the Brazilian women's football team won. There's 100 million, I think, and there is 40 million on the Dodgers. More viewed than UConn winning. More viewed than McElroy. And the fact is that this is only in 2 days.
Projections suggest the total reach could climb toward 40 to 50 million impressions as momentum continues. For context, Nike's Winning Isn't For Everyone campaign achieved approximately 15 million views, making Clark's content performance notably superior. Regarding cultural impact, 2024 represented a peak moment for Clark's mainstream recognition. While that specific year marked her maximum cultural penetration, the athlete maintains extraordinary relevance within the sports landscape. Among female athletes globally, Clark occupies an elite tier of recognition, particularly within women's basketball, where her prominence remains unmatched.
And the fact is that this is only in 2 days. It is the 27th. The reality is that you could be looking at upwards of 40, 50 million views on this post. And yeah, like the Winning Isn't For Everyone post only has 15 million views, which is kind of crazy. But look, if we're talking about Caitlin Clark's relevancy in culture, there'll never be a time where she's more like culturally relevant than 2024. If we're being completely real, that's...
Historical comparisons reveal that certain tennis professionals have achieved comparable or greater global fame among women's sports figures. Other athletic disciplines have also produced female stars with substantial followings. However, within basketball specifically, Clark's visibility exceeds all predecessors and contemporaries in the women's category. Her overall sports relevance now competes directly with athletes across all gender divisions. Women's athletics have cultivated a distinct advantage in digital platform fluency compared to many male counterparts.
Real. That's what it is. Like, it is what it is. There will not be a time where she'll be more quote-unquote culturally relevant than 2024, but there is a big but here, and it is a fact that Caitlin Clark is still one of the biggest sports stars in the world. And if we're talking women's sports, still no ifs, ands, or buts about it, the biggest star. Like, she is global superstar to the level that I don't think we thought, like, anyone would think was possible.
Athletes like Angel Reese exemplify this social media sophistication, though Clark herself doesn't necessarily fit this pattern as directly. The phenomenon extends to emerging male players as well. Jared McCain received attention partially due to his TikTok presence, while LaMelo Ball sparked viral memes that contributed to his brand recognition. The critical distinction for Clark involves converting digital engagement into tangible audience attendance and viewership. Many athletes accumulate substantial social media followings without corresponding translation to actual game attendance. Numerous players boast hundreds of thousands of dedicated supporters online whose engagement rarely extends to watching competitions in real time.
Like anyone would think was possible in women's sports outside of tennis. Because for me, I think there absolutely is an argument that like there have been tennis players more popular than Caitlin. And there probably have been players in other sports more popular than Caitlin on the women's side. But as far as basketball is concerned, that's just not happening. It's just not happening. And we're now at the stage that you're looking.
Clark demonstrates the reverse pattern. Her audience consistently converts social media interest into viewership and attendance at actual basketball contests. This represents a unique achievement within women's basketball, where most athletes haven't replicated this conversion rate. Ironically, critics who suggested Clark's popularity stemmed from non-basketball factors overlook that her fanbase represents the demographic most likely to watch complete games religiously. Previous Olympic competitions featuring Team USA women's basketball occurred in venues operating at partial capacity. Future tournaments, particularly those featuring Clark, anticipate significantly enhanced attendance.
We're now at the stage that you're looking at just in all of overall sports relevance. And look, and that is the one thing, and that is, I like to see it because that is the one thing that the women's sports people tend to have over their male counterparts, which ironically Caitlin Clark doesn't fall into this category. It's that a lot of these players, maybe not necessarily Caitlin, but for Angel Page, these players are very much, they are social media savvy. It's why when Jared McCain was coming up,
The World Cup tournament promises sold-out venues wherever the American squad competes, potentially including premium courtside seating at elevated prices. The Toronto appearances alone expect massive turnout, with international fans planning attendance specifically for Clark's participation. The promotional material achieved approximately 50 million total impressions across all social platforms combined. This represents one of the most successful product launch campaigns in recent memory across any industry.
Media savvy. It's why when Jared McCain was coming up, when he was hooping as a rookie, everyone's talking about, oh shit, he's this TikToker. He's, the kids all love him, all this stuff. Kids love LaMelo Ball. Like, LaMelo Ball literally was the cause of the fucking 6'7" meme. He was the cause of the 6'7" meme. But yeah, it's all around one of those things where when you are looking at, Caitlin Clark, when you're looking at women's sports, like on social media is where a lot of it is. And it's just,
Few marketing initiatives have generated comparable organic viral reach in such compressed timeframes. From Nike's corporate perspective, Clark's partnership arrives at a strategically crucial moment. The company faces various competitive pressures where Clark's market appeal provides significant value. The brand demonstrates clear intention to maximize this partnership's potential, evidenced by their investment in prominent promotional placement.